Right now. Still recording.
Still recording.
Hello and welcome to the Foxy Bros podcast. I'm your host, Niall Fox, aka Foxy, and I am joined today in a very special collaboration episode with the Ace Man, Adam Ace, from If You'd Like to Take Away.
Yeah, I'll go from here. So this is the high stakes podcast with Adam Ace doing, like you said, a collaboration with Foxy Bros and Niall Fox, aka Foxy.
Yeah.
How you doing, Foxy? Niall Fox?
I am doing alright. How are you, Mr. Adam Ace?
I'm alright. I'm trying. I'm aces, as they say. Hey.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows the shitstorm that we're in right now, but trying to put a silver lining on it is, it's a thing. But we're trying. We're doing our best to kind of stay positive about everything and keep everything going as much as we can. But we get to do things like this now, which is always a good thing. Yeah.
Like that was actually the main reason why I knew I was gonna be locked in for the next foreseeable. So therefore I was just like, all right, I'm sick of seeing these walls. I can only do so much, like making stuff. So I just said, fuck it, I'm gonna focus on this podcast. So I started messaging all my friends, and it's just like gives me a great reason to interact and catch up with
that's
everyone.
it. Well, that's it. Like I was doing a bunch of things because I was working at the same time, and I was like, I invented my own board game at one point, and then I started watching all these different movies that I hadn't seen before, and
I noticed that.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start focusing on podcasting. So I literally made the decision today to just, because I've been doing it a little bit, kind of dabbling in it a little bit, and I decided, I'm gonna kind of pour my heart and soul into it a little bit more now over the next couple of weeks. So I started messaging a couple of friends today, being like, hey, you want to go on a podcast? That's like, I'm gonna make a little schedule and calendars with people and start fucking getting everybody in.
Likewise, that's exactly what I'm doing this weekend.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's a good way of interacting with people. It's a good way of talking to people. It's a good way to, get out of the headset or the mindset of whatever's going on right now. You just get out of it, talk about whatever the hell you want.
And especially like with that cabin fever mentality, especially for people who are unfortunately like stuck in a house, like this is just fantastic because it's social interaction.
That's it.
That's desperately needed. Granted, I'm still living with I'm living with my family at the moment.
Yeah.
But, so like you see the same people, you start getting very irritated.
Well, the funny thing is, me and the missus live together. And we haven't gotten irritated at each other. We haven't gotten angry at each other. Although I think she's lying when she says I don't piss her off. But I don't know what it is about me, but I feel like this is just showing me personally, just how antisocial I am, because I don't really give a shit. But I do miss everyone though at the same time. Like I'm messaging my buddies and I'm checking in on them to see how they're doing and stuff. But it's because I know I can't go out. I'm like, you know what? It's fine. I can just chill and I can watch these movies I haven't seen before. I can do these little things I've never done before. Like I'm doing the girlfriend's head in right now because for my birthday she got me the Game of Thrones board game.
And that's all you want to do.
And that's all I want to do. That's all. And like I'd already mastered the rules of the game within one go of the game. Like we played the game once. I already knew all the rules and how to play it. So now from the second game on, we actually, because there's only two of us, you need at least three people.
Yeah.
We actually played two houses each.
Just to give him more of a challenge.
Just to give him more of a challenge. So we played two houses each. And what we've done is we've made up our own rules to go with it to make it a little bit easier for us.
Yeah.
Which is basically you can't attack your own like partner house. And if you do attack your own partner house, the other player gets to play as the house you're attacking against.
Oh, that
way you can't like purposely just take their castles,
Yes.
And then another thing that we do is so we have a tournament. So whoever wins the best of 10 in the month gets something like breakfast in bed or a massage or something like that. So the way we've done it is you get to pick two teams, which like let's say I pick one, you pick one, then I pick my second, then you pick your second. If I win as a specific house, I have to play that house the next game.
Oh, that's good. So continuity, basically.
Continuity. So, like for example, in the last game, I was who was I? I was Stark and Baratheon, and I won as Baratheon. So now in the next game, we might be playing a game tonight or tomorrow night, but in the next game, I have to play at least one of my houses as Baratheon.
Fair enough.
That's just the way it is, and then whichever house wins.
That sounds good though. Like, don't know.
Yeah, it's a fun little twist on a game that like loads of people are playing, you know.
Yeah.
But because we can't get 8 or 9 people here to play it, then we figured we may as well do it this way.
Although, like you got into a board game, I actually like recently only because of Butch. Butch got me into a wrestling D&D game,
Oh, I seen
and
something about this online.
I had never played D&D, so like I thought, fuck it, now's the chance to like give it a go. But I fucking love it. Like
Yeah,
every Tuesday now, we're just like we're playing out an episode of a show, and
okay.
it's deadly. So like we obviously
I
roll to see like how you do
yeah.
the promo. We're having a laugh because we're doing it with a group of people. It's like trying to cut promos about in character, and it's just like,
I played D&D years ago, and then I didn't play anything. I didn't play anything with them for a couple of years till I got here. And then Drew Onyx is a big D&D fan,
is he?
and he's a big D&D fan, and he got me into Heroes Unlimited, which is basically a superhero version of D&D.
Oh, nice.
It's just really cool. So we were in Justice League, and it was all kinds of fucking chaos and nonsense. But like literally, like one of the lads ended up killing Green Arrow. We had to go back in time to stop Green Arrow from dying, and then Red Arrow died, so we had to go back in time to stop Red Arrow from dying, and it was just a vicious circle.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting out of it eventually, but oh my god, he was just so quick witted with it. So I started playing the Heroes Unlimited right up until this happened, and yeah, I'd heard about this wrestling one, and I was like, oh, this sounds so. Walk me through it. Tell me what happens.
So like obviously like now he bought it, and so he has all the fucking stuff at home. But
Right.
essentially, a group of us, he told us like pick the number, and that was gonna be our gimmick. So like
Okay.
he ended up sending on the information to us. So whoever got what got a particular gimmick, and mine happens to be the hardcore wrestler.
Oh.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
so, but obviously you don't have to go by the picture that they give you. You can do your look the way you want it, and
Right.
you can use he uses music as well. So if you have a
Oh,
theme
cool.
music, he plays as you're doing your intro, which is
That's
fun.
cool. That's cool.
Nice little touch to it. But obviously, you run through the card, and he's setting up rivalries. And he's doing this, and it's very interesting. Like then it's fun because I've never played anything like this
Yeah.
kind of turn-based game. I'm not normally into them, but this like it's fun, and
Yeah.
especially because like me and Butch are the only two that are involved in wrestling. So
Yeah.
so it's very handy for me because I'm watching the others try to like do matches, and I'm doing my whole ref thing because like I'm helping people. I'm like, okay, if he has your leg, then what do you do? Then what's the closest thing? Then I
Yeah.
push him away. You want to go for a clothesline, or you want to
Kick
do
off.
this?
Work up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it like a fucking full on match. And when it comes my turn, I'm just like, I'm thinking of the logic of the other person as opposed to me, which is
Yeah.
which is like instead of just like button mashing, just like finish, finish, finish,
It's
finish.
it's it's hard. Yeah, because even when I was playing Heroes Unlimited or when I'm playing Game of Thrones against her, it's hard because you're not just playing against the person; you're also playing against the person that person's pretending to be.
Mm.
So, like for example, there was one of the Heroes Unlimited games we were playing. We were playing as the Justice League. I was Batman. One of the other guys was Robin, and then we had an Aquaman. We had Batman, Robin, Aquaman. We had Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Flash, and that was it. That was all that was there because Superman and Wonder Woman couldn't make it. So we had the team there anyway, and as if you can't make it, the game goes on without you, and then
Yeah.
you get caught up later on. You just don't get your points.
Mm.
So we were playing it anyway, and this is right before Green Arrow got killed anyway. But Drew was obviously playing all the other characters that aren't like all the villains essentially.
Yeah.
So these guys rob a bank, but they use 3 tanks. All right, and this part is hilarious. Moose is gonna kill me for telling the part of the story, but because we tease him constantly about this. So the bad guys come, he rolls, they rob the bank, they get millions. They hop into 3 tanks and they split. So we decide, right? Well, I'm gonna go for this tank, you go for that tank. You go for I'm Batman, so I'm calling out to everyone what to do. You go for that one. You go for that one. You go for that one. Use your strengths. Fucking let's go.
Yeah.
Go awesome, right? We stopped the first two tanks. Moose is Aquaman, right? Now Aquaman gets a hard time. All right, I know Aquaman gets a lot of hard. People don't know a lot about Aquaman, right? Aquaman in the water is stronger than Superman.
Yep.
Right? And outside the water, he's just a little bit lesser than Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So he's basically a god, right?
He's still ridiculously strong.
He's stupidly strong. So Moose, right, a really good friend of mine who is from Brooklyn, New York, right? This big burly black fucking Brooklyn, New York dude, right? He was all kinds of gangster. Turn around and his favorite catchphrase is lead pipe upside the head. That's his favorite catchphrase. I'm gonna give him a lead pipe upside the head. Aaron Anderson, lead pipe, let's do this. And he says it all the time. And it came to his turn of what he's gonna do with the tank. So he leaps up on top of the tank, does the rolls, gets there. What do you do? What would you do if you were Aquaman? Just out of curiosity, what would you do in that situation? You got two bad guys inside a tank, rolling down the road after robbing a bank. You're Aquaman, you're now on top of the tank. What do you do?
Smash the roof.
Smash the roof.
Yeah.
Right. Then, so let's say you smash the roof and you get inside. What do you do?
So obviously, obviously I'm gonna try and get the bad guys. So if I can get both of them in one lunge, great. If not, then I focus on one and get the other one at a later time.
Right. So we said to him, "What do you want to do?" I'm gonna rip the roof off. I was like, "Okay." So he rips the roof off with all of his strength. Right, rolls for it, gets it quite easily. It's Aquaman. Two bad guys there. First bad guy comes out and win an attack. All right. What do you want to do? Do you want to block? Do you want to do a pulled punch? Or do you want to do a full punch? Bear in mind, this is Aquaman we're talking about, right? Or he has his kicks. Right? So Moose goes full punch, and we're like, obviously we're not going to talk to him essentially at this point because we're not within the realm of where he is.
Yes.
So we can't say on. So I'm sitting there going, no.
He's going to kill him.
He's going to fucking kill him. And he goes, full punch. And Drew was like, okay, Moose, think about what you're asking me right now. And he goes, I'm Brooklyn. Full punch that motherfucker. Full punch that motherfucker. So he rolls for the punch. He rolls for the full punch. He gets 98% of the full punch.
Oi.
Right? He punches this dude so hard he evaporates. Right, literally, like a human's health is like 3. He hit him with it was 600 points of damage. He evaporated so much so that the other bad guy just went, surrender. Surrender. I'm done. But it was the reason why I'm telling the story is the quick quittedness you need to have as the games master.
Yeah, because
Drew then in that instance because we had already gone back in time now at this point to save someone from being killed. And because we've gone back in time, there's now, which we had forgotten about, there's now technically 2 Justice Leagues at the same time. So the second Justice League is now showing up. All right?
And they see that he's killed.
All of them, Superman and Wonder Woman and all. And they've been he's like, we try to explain to him, I'm Batman. So I'm like, yo, I'm trying to explain this to you. We've come back in time, whatever. Superman's like, nope, Justice League does not kill. Aquaman just killed. You were imposters. And they throw us in fucking jail at the Justice League headquarters. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So you gotta be smart as the fucking
it's the ripple effect. Yeah.
That's it. You gotta be able to think of where your game can go, branching off from the different actions other people take.
That's very clever. Butch is the same. For different scenarios in it, and he's just on the fly. He's it's 1, 2, oh, and this happens. Then it's you motherfucker, you had me going. I thought this was done.
This is done. Oh no, this person's run out from the audience and fucking pulled the ref for you. Sorry.
Yeah. Or he's coming up with funny scenarios that happens. Then like a kid in the audience gets a boo for some reason. But he's coming up with funny scenarios. Amazing. And it's great. It's great. It's been good fun. I've been enjoying it.
That sounds good.
Yeah, but obviously, now the elephant in the room. We are both involved in wrestling.
Yes.
So, obviously, for my podcast, people might not know you. Might not. Might. But
Might not. Jesus.
Although, I think an alter ego has been mentioned once or twice recently. So, when was your start in wrestling?
Oh God, my start in wrestling was 2010, 2011. I want to say. MSW training school out in Kimmage, back at a pub. That was fucking fantastic. That was my start in wrestling. With Joe Cabray and Paul Tracy, T and Lee, or the lads from the flats, essentially the original lads from the flats. Yeah, that was my start in wrestling, and then I got through a couple of phases of characters that were all given to me by other people, which was actually hilarious because I get a lot of stick for the characters that I had back in the day. I never fucking picked any of them, which was hilarious. But oh god, but there were some terrible ones. When a Kenji lad, he was fucking awful. He was
That fucking golden boy prick.
the Golden Boy. Oh Jesus, even that one was fucking terrible. And then Joe gave me the wonderful Electro, which was fantastic. The myth and the legend of Electro. And that fucking god awful master, I couldn't see shit through. I couldn't see 2 feet in front of me.
Oh, lad.
Oh man. But then Adam Ace was born. Adam Ace came about, and I've actually had more success than I thought of with that. I managed to then travel to England, went around England a little bit, went around Europe a little bit, got to work with some really cool people, like Salvatore Bellomo, which was really, really cool, who worked with The Undertaker back in the day. Then I got to travel over to the States, which was a lot of fucking fun. I got to wrestle at the Hammerstein Ballroom before they tore it down and shit. I got to wrestle in Las Vegas, which was, I got to perform in the same places, like, Elvis and UFC and all that sort of, for a person like me, that's pretty fucking cool,
Yeah.
And then I trained with somebody. I trained with Al Snow. I trained with Drew Onyx. I trained with Becky and Joe before Becky's tryout, which was really cool. I've trained with a lot of cool people, and then decided to come here to train with Drew Onyx for a little bit. Stupidly fell in love, as they say, and decided I'd stay here. And then here I've actually had quite a little bit of success. I've three different championships in the last 2 years, which is a lot of fun. I won a King of the Ring tournament they had here, and supposed to be going for a bleep soon. But when all this, I'm bleeping it out, but because of this COVID stuff, we don't know when that's going to happen. But according to the email, it was supposed to happen this summer, but that's been postponed now. But we'll see how it goes after that.
Could come later. You never
Could
know.
come later. We'll see what way they do it. But here's hoping. But yeah, that's basically my backstory in a very swift little nutshell.
Yeah. Damn, that was actually very quick. Dunno.
Yeah, well, whenever people ask me about my wrestling career, I tend to just blow through it very, very quickly.
Yeah, so it's
it's like
so people don't have a chance to really ask you. Well, what about this?
Because I don't know what it is. I am a very modest person, and I am very I don't know. I'm my own biggest critic when it comes to this kind of stuff.
We're all the same.
We're all the same, and I'm not a person who likes to brag about a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's not my brag. You know what I mean? Like, I could say things like, "Oh, I trained with Carlito. I trained with Chris Masters. I trained with all these big time people." I was like, "But it's not my brag. I'm not Carlito. I'm not Chris Masters." You know what I mean? So it's not my brag. I've learned some stuff from them, but that's it. Fucking Finn Balor gave me my dropkick. You know what I mean? He's the one who taught me how to do a dropkick the way I do it, and I do a fucking damn good. That's the one thing I'll brag about. I have a damn good dropkick. But I'll always remember the day I realized I had a good dropkick. I was fighting Scotty Davis in his first ever match, and I still have a video of it. And Terrence was the referee, and I was working heel. It was one of my first matches as Adam Ace as well. And Joe was sitting in the audience. He wasn't sure if the Adam Ace character was going to work or not. And I picked up Scotty Davis and I hit my dropkick. And when I hit the dropkick, Terrence stands up like he's going to hunker down. He stands up and he goes, hey, and he gets in between us. Yeah. And Scotty's selling like a fucking masterclass. And I'm like, why is he getting in between us right now? Because you won't get in between us for a dropkick. And he just whispers to me, he's like, damn, son. All he said was, damn, son. I was like, oh, it must have been a good dropkick. But yeah, I don't brag about a lot of stuff, and I don't like go into detail about a lot of stuff. But yeah, like I've been doing this like basically 10 years now. I've traveled Europe and America twice. I don't. Really
You've been very fortunate.
I have, and it's funny because Drew Onyx said something about me before on a different podcast, where he said I wrestle like I have a chip on my shoulder, and I do. I very much wrestle like I have a chip on my shoulder. Yeah. I very
I'd
much
agree with
wrestled like a
that.
chip on my shoulder because forget about the stigma of you're a small guy or you're in a country that doesn't have a lot. Like this is before Fergal and Becky and all this sort of stuff. At
Mm.
this point, Finley and Sheamus were all that we had, and obviously Fergal was over in Japan and stuff. But this wasn't a WWE country. You know what I mean? There wasn't somewhere
Yeah.
a lot of people came from, and forget about all those stigmas. It was even just people at home who were like, "You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough." And one day something just clicked in my head, and I went, "Fuck you! I am good enough." And I remember I'm not going to say any names or anything like that, but I remember there was talks about me winning a championship at one point, and I was like, "Okay, cool, that's fucking awesome." And then it was given to somebody else, and I was like, "All right, cool, whatever, that's all good." And then when I stood back and actually watched the person who was being given the championship wrestle, he wasn't the best wrestler around. He could talk, but he wasn't the best wrestler around. And I was like, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?" I was like, I don't get it. And that was my first introduction to you don't have to just be a good wrestler. You can either be a good talker, you can be a good wrestler, you can bring people to the crowd, whatever.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had a fear of talking. I had a fear of doing promos and stuff. But I'd bring people to the show, so I'd put asses in seats, and I was a damn good wrestler. And I was like, I couldn't figure it out. And then it was when Fergal came back for a seminar, and I got talking to him, and it was him that had said to me, he was like, you can't be afraid to talk. You have to be able to talk. He said, if you don't know what to say, he said, just say anything. Say the first thing that comes to your mind, come from real emotions. I was like, right, okay, all right, fair enough. That's when I started turning a bit more heel, and I got better at it because I started walking the line of what was, worked and what was gimmicked.
Yeah.
And what was a real emotion I had towards somebody and what wasn't. And sorry, go on, you want to say something?
Like on that point, like I find that like if you're a heel, I think it's easier for you to break out of your shell in regards to doing promos or to just be able to speak because as you said with like the emotion for some people is more real because they could be incredibly frustrated and therefore this is their big chance. They've probably been a face for years and they're just sick of it and they just finally want to vent. And this is their best opportunity to do it.
That's it, exactly. And it was when when Fergal had said to me in that conversation, he said, "You're a good wrestler." And I was like, "Wait, I'm a good wrestler." And I was like, "Okay," but he's telling me I'm not. You're telling me I am. I'm gonna go with what he said. When Fergal never said you're good at something, I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, you take the compliment from someone who's been there, and
exactly. And I was like, right, okay. So then the wheel started turning, and I was like, right, why are these people saying these things? And that seed then started to grow, and I started to not like certain situations then. And I feel like that was my downfall within Ireland, to be quite honest. And then I remember I went to somebody for help when it came to getting booked outside of Ireland. And I'll never forget it. Their exact words were, and I still have the message, their exact words were, "You won't get booked unless you have something to offer." And that was as far as their help went. They never helped me with anything else after that. And that's where the chip on the shoulder started to grow.
Yeah.
And I went, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to do it in spite of you. And that's what I made it my fucking mission to get booked everywhere I could. And I ended up winning championships in different places and getting rebooked in places. And I was like, you know what? This is more than I've ever thought I'd ever get. So
you did fairly well in England as well, like when you actually went over there.
Yeah, my first trip, I wrestled for LDN. I did a 2-week tour with them. And at the start of the tour, the guy put his Capital Championship on me. The LDN UK Capital Championship on me. In like my second show. And then I dropped it to Jigsaw on my last show.
Don't know, there's a big difference. I mean, like that can be like the biggest fucking eye opener in regards to like where you feel your skill is.
That's it, exactly.
Like, because like it's also like a fish out of water kind of thing. It's like Ireland, even though like it's a small country, there's a vast amount of people going in for the same spots, and it's just like only a certain few are gonna get it. It's well known that like that's just the way it is. But for some people that actually say, fuck this, no, I'm going to do it. I'll get myself booked. If I have to pay my way over there, then, but I'm at least going to do it myself and say, fuck it, then I've done it and have no regrets.
That's it, exactly. And the way I always went about it was, the States was a different situation, but for Europe, because the flights were cheaper, what I would say was, I'd say, right, I tell you what, I'll come over, I'll pay my way over, and I'll do the first match for free. However, if you like me, pay me for the flights. And they were like, okay, deal. So then they liked me, and what they'd actually do was they'd actually keep me for. I'd always make sure I'd book my flights, so I had a couple of days. And I used to make the excuse of, oh, I want to see the place while I'm here. But what I'd actually done was I'd check their website and I'd see what other shows they had available, and then yeah, which was a little bit sneaky. So then they'd say, I do the show. If they like me, they say great, and I say, right, have you got any other shows coming? Knowing already that they had shows coming up, I say, have you got any shows coming up? And they say, yeah, we have 2 more. I was like, is there any chance of a spot on one of them? And they say, actually, yeah. I say, right, okay, well, this is my fee. So if you could pay that and the flights, we're good. So you owe me for the flights now because you agreed to it.
Yeah.
How about you pay me my fee now? So I'd make a little profit off each one, a little bit of profit off each one. Then when I went to the States, the way I did that one was I actually contacted a few different companies at the same time before I left. And what I did was I'd say to them, hey, these people are going to pay for a certain amount of my flight. Do you want to get in on that? And I'll work these shows for you. And they were like, yeah, okay. And I'd get maybe 3 different people to do that. But then sneakingly, what I actually did was, let's say if I contacted 5 of them, I told all 5 that only 3 people were paying for the flights.
Yeah, so therefore you profited off 2.
I profited off 2 for the flights, and then I was able to get my fee down for the other ones. And I was like, perfect, happy days. Yeah. So I ended up making money from it. And now I got to that point where now I was hustling my way through, and I was actually making money from it. And I was like, oh, okay, so now I get it. Now I understand it.
I've figured out where to get them, like how to do it, how to hustle.
How to hustle it. And because back when I was younger and I was starting now, for me it was, you just got to be the best wrestler. You just got to be the best wrestler. So I learned as much as I could. Then I realized, no, now you actually need to talk and have a personality. So I grew those. And then it was like, right, okay, now I need to make money. And I was like, how do you hustle? So I got to learn how to hustle. And then, then all that led me to here. And then I kind of got here and I've had my foot stuck in a clamp ever since.
Yeah, you never wanted to leave, really, like, because I remember when you did your first tour of Canada, you came back and said, "I fucking love over there."
Yeah, I can't wait to go back. Yeah, I've met some incredible people here. I've met some assholes too, but I've met some really incredible people. And the wrestling scene here is so I don't know. It's there's a healthy competition about it, but everyone helps each other. It's none of this stuff of, oh, they have a better lighting setup than us, they have a better ring than us, or like that. Like, for example, we'll do torch chamber shows, and we'll use the same ring announcer from Victory Ring as we'll use in our show. Victory Ring will borrow torch chamber's ring. You know what I mean? They'll actually, they help each other because they're in different areas. Like Thetford Mines, where Victory Ring is held, is like, I don't know, it's a fucking 4-hour drive away. So we'll pack the ring up, we'll bring it out there for them, and then he'll book some of us on the shows, and then we'll do the shows there, and then vice versa. You know what I mean?
Which is handy. Like that's the way it should be. Like you help out the shows.
What it actually reminds me of here is old school territory days. That's what it actually reminds me of.
Yeah.
But a healthier version of it, of course. Yeah.
It's not full of like the toxic situations that can be involved in wrestling.
That's it.
Now in fairness, like obviously like that some people like the situation isn't for them. So therefore like that's why they either move to a different country or they find a different place for them that works for them.
That's it, exactly.
Now with me being involved now, unfortunately I've stuck here in Ireland. I can't get myself out of the fucking country. I did it last year for 2 shows. That was it, and that was in Sheffield, England. But but other than that, like it's unbelievably hard, like as a referee, to get booked in any other country. It's crazy.
It's very, very difficult. And a friend of mine, who I'm hopefully going to have on the podcast soon, Emily, she's a referee here.
Emily Parker.
Parker, yeah, she's very, very good. She's a 2nd generation referee. She's very, very good, and I mean, she like I'll talk to her about this on the podcast later, but she actually got offered by NWA to come be a referee, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And it's not easy to even jump from province to province here, because provinces here are fucking huge. Like no one seems to be able to grasp the size of a province here. The way I say to people is Montreal is the same size as England. Just the island of Montreal, same size as England, right? Not Scotland and Wales, just England.
Yeah.
Quebec has the same population as London.
Which is crazy to think of.
Which is crazy. But Quebec is the same size as Spain 8 times.
Wow.
There you go.
That's
which is
mental,
nuts.
Like, yeah.
Nuts.
Like, it's great to hear it in that way, because, like, some people think, like, no, it's not. They're not, like, how? They're not. And then when you actually describe it, it's like, oh, shit, yeah. They're not. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's huge. But
Yeah.
like a lot of it is lands that people don't go to because it's just too cold and shit. Whereas, and then a lot of it's like country homes and things like that. They're all spread out by lakes and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, like most people live in like either at Montreal or the areas around it, or up by Quebec City. And yeah, it's not as vastly overpopulated. So it is. The scenes are small in each area, but then everyone in Quebec knows each other.
Yeah.
So it's actually a much bigger scene, but it's, you know, you don't interfere with other people's territories and shit.
I get you. Yeah. Whereas, like, here in Ireland, you know yourself, like, now, fortunately, over the last couple of years, like, the schools have gotten together and have started working together.
That's cool. That's cool.
Which is great, because, like, you have, like, obviously you have the School of Irish Wrestling, like, which is OTT's school.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like, closed down recently. But
yeah, I heard about that. I actually messaged Joe about that. That was a fucking disgrace.
Yeah,
that was
a bad situation. It really is.
Yeah.
But the fact that you had that school, which is basically an amalgamation of all of Ireland, like people from all of Ireland coming together into that in order to train for the possibility of OTT. But I mean, like, it's. You have Fight Factory, you have Phoenix Wrestling, then like the boys down in Cork, like trying to get their fucking school properly up and running, hopefully again. But I mean, like, and even like you have one or two promotions up north, and it's just like, now, granted, not all the promotions are as willing to work with each other.
You have that here as well. Like, there's usually one or two that are like. They're over to the side because they don't want to work with other people.
Yeah.
But for the most part, that's not the case. But there is usually one or two. You know, it's always going to be the case in every situation. You're always going to have people who don't want to work with those other people. You know, I mean, thankfully, I'm in a position now where I'm happy with how my wrestling career has gone so far. Obviously, everything's taking a pause right now, but I'm still trying to get that next step. But because I like, people have actually asked me before on our podcast, am I mad or am I salty about the way things went in Ireland? And my answer, no, I'm actually not.
It worked out better for you because
it worked out. Yeah, exactly. It worked out better for me this way than it could have worked out for me the other way.
And you wouldn't have met the people that you currently like. Don't know. Like,
that's it. I wouldn't have met
your other half.
Exactly. I wouldn't have. Well. Yeah, well, yeah.
For those that obviously can't see the video, like, he's just like looking off to the side and is like, nope, I'm not saying it out loud.
I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna beating. No, I mean, yeah, I for sure wouldn't have been here to meet her. I wouldn't have got to train with Drew Onyx. I mean, like, one of the coolest things I got to do recently was I was PCO's training partner for his ROH run, which was so much fucking fun. We got to train with each other 3 times a week. It was me, him, and a guy named Mike Morrison. And we trained with each other for 3 weeks and 3.5 weeks. We trained 3 times a week each week. And I mean, there's nothing more scary than having PCO standing over you trying to do a Spanish fly from the top rope.
Yeah, be like, oh fuck that, I'm
Yeah,
gone.
he goes hop up there on top rope. So hop up on top rope, and he says I want to try something. I say, well, what do you want to try? And I'm standing on top rope. He's on the second. I'm like, what do you want to try? He's like Spanish fly. I'm like, can you do a backflip? He's like, we'll see. And he just stands up, grabs me. I'm like, oh shit, off we go.
Fuck you,
And
kid. You're going with
yeah,
me.
we're going for it. I was like, oh, motherfucker. But he was a lot of fun to work with, and he was a great knowledge base.
Mm.
Rene Dupree. I've gotten to work with him a couple of times here, which
So
was
good, so easy to work with.
oh my god, he is
I
one of
love
the
him.
smoothest guys I've ever wrestled with, and he's so smart. Like literally everything he does, he does a simple wrist lock. That wrist lock can last 3 minutes, and he'll tell a story with it, and the crowd's loving it. And you're like, if anybody else does that, they're getting booed. Rene Dupree does it, and it works. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's just so
he got a
easy.
poodle over.
He
Dunno.
got a poodle. He got a poodle over.
He got
He
a
got a poodle
shuffle
over.
over. Dunno.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
underrated. I I would
Yeah,
say he's very
for
underrated.
sure.
Dunno, for
Yeah,
what his ability was.
absolutely. Definitely a very underrated wrestler. I remember the first time I ever met him, actually. The first time I met him was at an OTT show.
Mm.
We were doing an OTT show together, and he was huge. I didn't realize he
Yeah,
was so big.
he was
Did not
jacked,
realize he
man.
was so big. Yeah, dude's massive.
That was the same with me when it came to Masters and Carlito. Because like I'd look at them on
Hmm.
TV and be like, like Masters looks jacked, but like Carlito looks small. And then see him in
Yeah.
real life, and he's tall and he's jacked. I'm like, fuck that.
Well, that's it. I remember thinking about Edge. I remember thinking Edge was just a lanky string of piss. And then I met him, and the dude's a fucking tank. And I was
Yeah.
like, holy, his arm is about the size of my torso.
Have you
Dude's
seen him?
huge.
You seen his progress now, haven't you? Like the shape
Oh,
he's in.
dude, slight brag. I was texting him the other day because we actually text quite frequently. He's a really really nice dude, and I try to be one of those guys like, okay, I'll say I have his number, and I'll text him on his birthday or something, Christmas, whatever. He texts me maybe once a month just to see what I'm doing, what I'm eating, how I'm training, how I'm getting on. I'm like, you know what? You are a top notch dude. Fucking, I have friends that don't even do that.
Like to
Like
keep
close
tabs on
friends.
you like that.
Yeah, I have close friends that don't even do that. I was like, you are a fucking star. But I was actually texting him the other day, and he was dying for a donut. He has his donut Fridays apparently, and I was like, what do you mean you have a donut Friday? He's like, dude, you have no idea. He's like, I go out and I get like 9 donuts, and I just sit down on my chair out the back, and I just eat 9 donuts. And I'm like, all nine? He's like, all nine. I'm like, dude, I have a sweet tooth. I can't eat 9 donuts.
Same.
Can't
Like
do it.
I have a major sweet tooth, and I just can't break the habit.
Oh,
But
oh
like,
no, she's constantly yelling at me, being like, "You're gonna get diabetes." I'm like, "No, I might, but no."
yeah, that's actually
No,
me.
no,
I
I
was
might, but no.
I was thinking that the other day. It's like, fuck, I'm gonna get diabetes, but
Yeah,
like, but uh, uh, yeah, I'm probably gonna get diabetes. Yeah,
yeah.
can't even deny it. Don't know, but
So for your podcast, people now know me as Adam Ace,
yes,
and I have been a wrestler now for about 10 years. I was a coach for 4 years at MSW as well, which was a lot of fun.
Mm.
I've wrestled with a lot of cool people and trained with a lot of cool people, and I'm hopefully going for a bleep soon. If you don't know what a bleep is, you will eventually know. But
yes,
I'm going for a bleep soon. Um, for people on my podcast, we have met you before
yes,
because we have done a podcast on the High Stakes podcast with Niall Fox before.
yes, we have.
You are the incomparable, incorruptible Foxy, the referee, very famous referee in Ireland and for OTT. But you are also the host of a fantastical nerdy podcast.
Yes, like which is what you're appearing on right now. Like we
Yeah.
are recording.
Yeah, we're co-recording this because I'm just being a jerk and I'm just gonna piggyback off of Foxy's podcast and I'm gonna release this at some other point as a From the Vault thing.
It's just
But
like, but that's part of the fun, don't it? It'd be
yeah,
like any YouTuber, like they all record the same stuff, but like they just release it at different points.
that's it exactly. They all just release it at different sections. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So now we decided to do one on Foxy's podcast and do some nerdy talk
Yeah,
and talk about some random crap. Yeah,
yeah. Like I just thought, like it was good, like because for people that would be listening to mine, obviously a lot of them would be wrestling fans,
yeah,
but a lot of them would also be nerds as well. But I wanted to get a good. I wanted to give the listeners a good bit of information about the Canadian indies, which is not
Yeah,
something that's talked about often because
yeah.
you barely see someone that's actually like involved in it. So it was
Well,
nice
that's
to
it. I
hear that.
mean, yeah, no, it's very interesting here. I mean, like, the dedication here is something incredible. And I'll give you an example now. Emily Parker, that we just talked about. All right, so I'm very very good friends with her and a tag team named Sabotage. Okay, um, absolutely fantastic tag team. If you ever get a chance to look up any of their stuff, look up their stuff. They're brilliant. They remind me of Young Horsemen. Very very good, and they live out in Maritimes. Okay, so just to give you a retrospective where that is, it's a 12 and a half hour drive for them
Ooh,
to leave their house to get to the show here in Montreal. It's a 12 and a half hour drive,
damn,
right? They'll do that trip twice a month. Twice a month they'll do that in the
that's
same
crazy.
car. I mean, it's hard. I remember back in the day in Ireland, if you weren't getting paid, you weren't going to Cork for a 3 hour trip. You know what I mean? If you weren't getting your pay
But
slip, you weren't going for that.
they're
Uh,
doing 12 hours
you know,
like twice
12
a month.
hours.
For maybe nothing.
That's it. And I mean, 12 hours one way.
Yeah,
One way,
yeah.
which means they'll like the last time that they came, they stayed here at my place, and they did the 12 hours. They wrestled, stayed at my place. The next morning, got up and drove back.
That's mental.
I mean, and that's I don't mind, but that's them. Like you think that's them crossing half the country? No, like the Maritime is probably the closest thing to Quebec.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like they're pretty fucking close. Like if I was say like Quebec is here, Maritime is like here somewhere. The other side of the country is like out my door.
Damn.
It's ridiculous, dude. And yeah, like they'll come and they'll get paid to get their gas money and stuff, but like it's a 12-hour trip you're
Mm.
making. You know what I mean?
Like
And
just the
and
thoughts of that is just like,
could you
no.
imagine sitting in a car for what's a 12-hour trip there? Like it's what, it's a 6 hour trip from Belfast to Cork, right? 5 hours?
5 hours.
5 hours. So imagine doing that twice plus to Dublin then.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's like
Damn.
in the one trip. That's ridiculous. So yeah, no, the dedication here on the indie scene is fantastic. Everyone tries to help everyone. Like everyone uses the same few gear makers. Everyone uses the same few gear designers. Everyone uses the same few people to do Photoshop for their t-shirts and things like that.
Yes.
It's like a close knit community. Like Jade still does the designs and stuff there, right?
No,
No,
actually,
she doesn't. Does she not?
no. She stopped doing it.
Oh shit!
She's focusing on her actual job now.
Oh shit!
She's become a makeup artist.
Oh
So
wow!
yeah, like that was like
That's a hit to the community, right? That's a hit.
yeah. That's actually like it was a big hit because like
Yeah.
we were like, so who's gonna do the posters and the t-shirt designs and everything.
Everything, yeah.
No, but like luckily enough, like the people are on the scene that like
Yeah.
I imagine in Canada, it's just like you find someone that steps up and just happens to be like have a knack for these things. Like John
That's it.
Morrissey's still doing the photographs and he's fantastic at
Oh,
that.
he's brilliant,
I
yeah.
mean, Michael Macklin is like he films the shows and he gets
Mhm.
them out super quick on VOD.
Yeah.
It's just like unbelievably fast. Like it's just
And that's testament to Joe as well, because Joe's the one that kind of recruits these people in. And it's like, this
yeah,
is what I wanted, this is the way I need. He's like the project manager. He's like, I need this done this way, and this is
yeah.
like he has a vision. These guys need to fucking make it, you know.
Dunno. And I've always said it. I never envy Joe Cabret in
No.
booking a show, getting the people in. Like we
No.
can suggest people to bring in, but whether he listens is a different story. And we can suggest ideas about like bringing people in to relieve stress from other people, but that won't happen.
Yeah, that's no. I know the funny thing is, I feel like this is a trend because we had a referee here at Torture Chamber. It was Alessandro. I'll never admit this to his face, but he's a damn good referee and he's a damn good wrestler now as well. But while he was training to be a wrestler, he was also training to be a referee, and he was referee first. And he was a referee for a year and a half before he actually graduated. Because here you have to actually graduate being a wrestler. You have to actually meet criteria and graduate before you're allowed to wave the banner of your school.
Yeah.
And he graduated anyway, and we were like, who the fuck's got to be a referee now? We have no other referee.
Yeah.
And then he was like, he had turned to the coach and was like, well, I could train the referees, because he was a fantastic, like he reminded me of a young you. And I was like, well, yeah, why don't you train these two new rookies to be referees, and then you can focus on being a wrestler. And then he ended up being a referee for 2 more shows because they kept putting it off. They kept putting it off until he eventually turned around and said, I'm not being a referee anymore. I want to focus on being a wrestler. And then we were like, we told you. You should have done it 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And thankfully, they've trained up 2 or 3 more referees, and we have Emily coming down as well to alleviate some of the pressure. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just the thing with referees. Once you get a really good referee, you're like, no, he's mine. No one's ever getting him ever again. He's not allowed to change. It's all mine.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I agree with that completely. Like,
Yeah.
Like to its detriment, I do find that that's the one big flaw in Irish wrestling, is the fact that everyone trains to be a wrestler. No one comes with the mentality to, all right, how can I help the show? Can I be a ref? Can I be a manager? Can I be an MC? Can I do this? Nobody does that.
That was one of the things that I used to like doing, and it was funny because I think it was one of the things that I used to annoy Joe about the most, but I think it was one of the things that he appreciated the most, was if I wasn't booked on a show, I'd be like, right, what can I do? Can I ref? Can I be a security guard? Can I do something to help?
Yeah.
And the reason why I wanted to do it, which a lot of people don't realize to do this, the reason why I wanted to do it was so I could be closer to the action to see what the other guys in the ring were doing, because they got booked and I didn't, and I needed to see why.
Yeah.
And then if I could figure out what they were doing that I wasn't doing, I could then start to implement it. And a lot of people didn't do that. And I used to complain about it a lot. When, like, for example, I would be doing security on an OTT show. If, let's say, for example, I wasn't booked on the show, because back then I wore a mask, I could do security. It was fine. So I would do the security on it, and I'd see somebody else doing security, and they were popping, and they were going nuts for what was happening in the show. But I was standing there stone-faced, because I'm supposed to be a security guard. Yes. And I remember thinking, why are you popping? You're not supposed to be a fan right now. You should be learning.
You're working.
Stop. You need to pay attention to the crowd and make sure no one's attacking Will Ospreay. But you need to also be realizing why the crowd is reacting the way you're reacting. What is he doing to make that?
Yeah.
You should be learning.
What is he doing that's making you react that way?
Exactly. That's why the best piece of advice I give to rookies now is I always watch a wrestling event twice. I watch it once as a fan, and then I'm able to react as a fan, or a mark, as people call them, which is a term I hate. But because all of us are marks at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's why we do what we do. But I watch it as a fan, and then I get my reactions, and then I'll rewatch it again, and I'll say, well, why did I react that way? And I'll see the build up to it, and I'll see that's what he did. It was that one little teeny tiny thing he did 2 minutes before I reacted that led to that reaction.
Subtleties go a long way in wrestling. Like, that's unbelievable. Yeah. But like, for me, like, kind of obviously being like, essentially, like, there's only 4 referees in the country, as far as I'm aware of. That's myself, Tommy McNulty, Hayley Stewart, who's the only female referee in the country. Yeah. And there's another lad, Ryan Bell, down in Cork, who's training to be a referee.
Okay.
So, like, but that's it. But I mean, like, Hayley and Ryan, they're the newest. Now, Hayley has been fortunate because she's a female referee. She's been fortunate enough to get booked in promotions. As far as I know, she was Fierce Females or Soul or one of the promotions in England because of that. But, like, she's still new. I would love to be involved with her more, and with Ryan as well, just to, like, train them up. Tommy comes in now when he's able to, don't know, but, like, other than that, there's lack of referees.
That's it, and like, people underestimate the power of a referee. And when I say that, I mean, like for example, one of the people that reached out to me about the tryouts was a referee. He was the head of organizing this. You know what I mean? Like, he's the person who organizes who if you get picked, he organizes what day you come. He organizes the whole day. That's a referee that does that. A referee's job is not just refereeing. Usually when you get up to the higher levels, you have other responsibilities as well.
Yes.
And people very much underestimate that. There's a lot of referees who are agents as well. You know what I mean? So, like, if you're an agent, you're actually making the match. You get to make the fucking match. Could you imagine being the referee for the Shawn Michaels Undertaker WrestleMania matches? Who gets to agent those and gets to have their input into what these two legends do in one of their last ever matches?
And have them listen.
And have them pay attention and respect you and say, yes, that's a good idea. I mean, come on. That's a fucking great job. Not to mention the fact that you get a longer career than a wrestler because you're not taking as many bumps. You might take a couple extra bumps, but, you know. I remember that dive you did. I still tell stories about that dive you did on the OTT show. Ooh. I still tell people that story.
Oh, man. No, but like for me, like, you're right, though. Like, referees do have other responsibilities, especially the more experience they get. So, therefore, like, it's kind of like giving back. Like, for me, I don't get... I'm not... I don't train as much as I'd like to. I barely train. And for me, that's more of a mental thing where it's like, why torture myself? I know I'm never wrestling. I'm never wrestling, and plus I'm clocking up more bumps on my bump card.
That's it.
If you want the referee to last long, you limit the amount of bumps
that you got to take. Exactly.
But
and the funny thing is, as a referee, like, technically speaking, as a referee, you're not supposed to bump like a wrestler. You're supposed to bump like an ordinary person, technically speaking. So you're actually supposed to bump wrong, which is even harder to do once you've been trained to bump.
To make it look like really like menacing and bad, like horrible.
you almost have to do like a failed worm attempt, but on the side, essentially.
But like, obviously, like for me though, like, because I've been doing it, like, I've been refereeing for 10 years, 10 years straight, and I've been involved for 14. Now, even with that experience, it's just like, I like to help out where I can, whether it be like giving a little tidbit to help with a match, or if it's especially for new guys, like how to structure a match. It's like, or character work, because that's what I did. You know yourself, like, if you're in a mask, you're a character. So therefore, like,
which is something that I'm actually grateful for, because I've done so many different characters. Well, because I've been given so many different characters. It's different when you come up with it, because when you come up with the character, you know why you're doing what you're doing. When someone hands you a character and says, here, play that character, you now haven't got a clue, because you now need to figure out, why would he do that? Why would I act that way? Why would I have like
the actual psychology of that character, don't it?
Exactly. And I think that's why I struggled a lot when I first started with the characters that I had, because they were all just names that were just given to me. Names and gear ideas that were just thrown at me and see what sticked. And when I actually got to sit down, and I sat down for like a whole weekend, and I planned out exactly what Adam Ace was. And I was like, right, it has to be me just dialed up. So what am I? And that's the hardest question to ask yourself in life, never mind just in wrestling. Who am I? What am I? Like, what am I? You know what I mean? And I broke it down outside of wrestling. What are my likes and my dislikes? And one of my biggest likes is cards. I love poker. I love blackjack. I love magic. I love all that sort of stuff. And, you know, I said, well, how can I implement that? And I thought of, the first thing I actually thought of was Gambit. I was like, well, Gambit he's not a walking spade card, but he has that, like, you know, that flair and that charisma of somebody that you can tell. Like, when he pulls out a card, you know what he is, you know? And I was like, that's the way I want it to be. And then I had to think of a name. And then I thought of a name. But, like, I remember, I think it was Paul Tracy that said to us years ago, if you have a wrestling character, you should know who that wrestling character's second girlfriend ever was. Can't be the same as yours, but you have to know who it was. You have to have an entire story for it. And when I started doing that, it kind of clicked a bunch of things for me. But I'm thankful for the way I used to have to do it, because now I'm able to try and help other people with characters. So when I see somebody else's character, I can say to them, well, why don't you do this? And that'll help your character. Yeah. And then they'll do it, and you'll see it work. And you're like, oh, wow, okay, I could get into doing that then.
Because, like, the handy thing was, like, as you said earlier, is the fact that, like, you did bit of coaching for main stage wrestling in the later part of main stage's lifespan. And through you, I got my foot in the door of coaching as well. Like, that was my start to doing that. But as that went on, like obviously, like didn't get used as much as yourself or other people, but
Mm.
by doing it, I think it was a case of like some people aren't meant for, say, a wrestler. They're probably meant to be. So for me, my case, it's a referee.
Yeah.
But what I found is that I really enjoy teaching and
Mm.
helping people because not everyone is the same. Some people
That's
get a
it.
lot quicker. Some people get a lot slower.
Yeah.
So
And
it
and that's actually really funny because Drew Onyx before all this had actually started getting me to like assistant coach because he has two assistant coaches, Gabriel and Kevin Breen and Gabriel Del Pinto, and he was getting me to kind of start assistant coaching because they had to do different jobs and stuff like that as well. So he needed another coach, so he started getting me to do it. And I remember there was a female wrestler that had come down. She was doing a private lesson, and she wanted to work on her strikes. So I was like, right, okay, cool. So the two of us were in the ring. Me, her, and Drew were all in the ring. And Drew turned around and said, right, Mark, what would you get her to do now to work on her strikes? And I said, right, well, what I would get her to do is I'd get her to do stomps on the ground, stomps to the gut, and punches and forearms to the head and chest. And he said, well, how would you get her to do it without hurting somebody? And I said, she's going to use the turnbuckles. And he said, why? And I said, well, the bottom turnbuckle could be the stomps on the ground because that's roughly how high your chest would be off the ground, give or take. So she could do the stomps and turnbuckles there. Stomps to the gut or punches to the gut, the middle turnbuckle, and then punches her forearms to the top turnbuckle, give or take. It's the average height roughly for a woman.
Yep.
And even if it's for a guy, you can just reach a little bit more. But that was the base we were working on.
That was the logic behind it.
That was the logic behind it. And then he said, right, but how are you going to judge whether or not she's stiffening it? And I said, well, because the pads that he has are leather, you can see when they indent. Right? So she was like, right, okay. So she started doing it and she started stiffening them. And he said, right, try this. And he gave one or two examples of how to lighten up. And he lightened up a little bit, but she was still stiffening it. So I put my hand there, let's say, on the turnbuckle, and I feel it. Okay, it's way too stiff. Let's ease this up. So he said to me, how would you get her to unstiffen it? And I says, this woman, she's an absolutely fantastic wrestler. She's 41 now, I believe. And she's probably going to kill me for saying her age. 41 now, fantastic wrestler. But she just became a grandmother for the first time.
Oh, she's definitely going to kill you now.
Definitely going to kill me. I'm not saying her name. She just became a grandmother for the first time. And what I said to her was like, right, here's what we're going to do. This is going to sound really strange. The turnbuckle is now your baby, or your kid's baby, your grandchild, right? And she was like, okay. I was like, right, I want you to imagine I'm now a criminal, and I now have a gun to your head. And I say to you, you have to hit that baby. And you have to make me believe you've hit that baby, but you don't want to hurt the baby. How are you going to hit the baby?
Yeah.
So she did it, and from that instance, her strikes were perfect because she just thought of the pad as a child that she didn't want to hit, but she had to make it look like she did, and her strikes were perfect. She wasn't she could have even gone a little bit snugger with it. If anything, she went a little bit too light, but it was a good way of getting her to just zone in on what she needed to try fix rather than just focus on the whole process.
Yeah,
and it's things like that I love figuring out. I love figuring out how to get somebody to the point where they need to get. Which is
I like
fun.
helping people with that as well, like just to fine tune like little things,
Yeah,
or getting them to tweak it just a slight bit.
That's it. And methods may not always be the right way to do it, but it'll work.
Yeah,
I remember. Didn't Pete Dunne do that once? He came down to a class. I mean, you were coaching it, and he was like he was an impromptu guest coach that we had.
No, it wasn't when I was there. No, it was definitely with you. Yeah,
I can't remember who was there. Was it Connor?
Connor.
And he came down and he just started chopping people for no reason. I was like, "This is how you do chops." Boom. And then he's like, and then he started twisting people up. I was like, "This is how you twist people up."
Nah, but like with it, it's just like, yeah, like I enjoy coaching. I like fine tuning like things. I like being asked, what do you think? Like, would this work? And especially because of my experience as a referee, it's like, all right, will this work in this situation? Can I choke him and do this, or is this like what's a disqualification? And being able to actually like bounce back like the feedback and just like, yeah, if you did this, I'll make disqualification. If you're gonna do this, then fucking have him fucking distract me like over here.
Yeah.
That gives you time, and he can give me the Iggy to turn around and like, all
That's
right,
it, like,
stuff is done.
Because I was the missus is not the biggest of fans of wrestling, and like, and not that she's not a big fan of it. She doesn't like some wrestling. She likes NXT. She likes NXT, and the reason why she likes it is because it looks like they're trying to hurt each other, and she says it looks like a real fight, and she can believe that it's a real fight.
Yeah.
But a lot of other stuff, especially on the indie circuit, it's not very real. It's not think, shoot, then work. It's just spot.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily. I mean, there is a niche for that. There is a style for that. There is a market for that. My thing that I've always had for wrestling, and you might agree with me, is wrestling is very linear. Okay, like you can tell a story that's non-linear, but wrestling is very linear. There's a start, there's a middle, there's an end.
Yes.
I always looked at it like a jigsaw puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have a certain amount of jigsaw puzzle pieces. All right, and with all my pieces to fit into that, and if I wanted to, I could literally from thin air, I could make a linear fucking jigsaw puzzle, straight line of a jigsaw puzzle with all the things I know about wrestling to make a wrestling match. It's fine. Then when, let's say, if I'm having a match against you, you now bring a certain amount of jigsaw puzzles to the table. So I remove some of my jigsaw puzzles pieces, and you put in your pieces. And we see, does it make a straight line? If it goes up and down, that's a problem. That's when it becomes a spot fest, when it's just a piece here, a piece there. If you get a straight line jigsaw puzzle, you know, it doesn't, if it doesn't line up right, it's not going to work.
No.
So we need to take your jigsaw puzzle pieces, my jigsaw puzzle pieces, and make the straightest line we can to tell the story. But what I feel now is what a lot of people do is they'll, instead of doing that, they'll take a little piece, put it here, a little piece, and then put it down here, a little piece, and then put it up there, a little piece, and put it over there to the right. And they'll say that's a match. And that's what a spot fest is. So we do this, then we go to this one. It's almost like draw by numbers.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things.
Join the dots, don't know, like.
Or the join the dots thing. Like you'll get the picture at the end, but you got to go through all this nonsense to fucking get it. Whereas when I look at a normal wrestling match, it's almost like a normal, like ordinary coloring book. You see the picture. Yeah. And it's two people coloring it in.
Less is
like,
more.
You get your colors, I get my colors.
Less
and we
is
just
more.
color it in. That's it, dude. That's it.
I'm a mad believer in that. Like less is more. Like if you can hit someone with two really good looking like forearms as opposed to 10, then do the two, and that's it.
Now, obviously, there's exceptions to the rule.
Yes,
but you can't look at the exceptions to the rule and think you are one of them all the time. Like for example, there was a rookie that we were saying to him before, less is more, and I actually got to agent his match, and it was like his third match, and I said to him, just hit him in the corner, give him a big stomp. His catchphrase that we're trying to work on is, "Did you see what I did?" Right, so he's an asshole, right? So he'll do something and he'll look around. Did you see what I did? And then go back and do it again, right? Yeah. And he keeps doing it. And we want him to do a big boot into the corner, like into the face. Turn to the crowd. Let's just turn to the crowd, do the boot, turn to the crowd, and say, "Did you see what I did?" And look at him, do it again. All he had to do. And he does the first boot, looks, says it, gets the reaction, right? Says it again, gets a little bit less of a reaction, then turns to the guy and then gives him the Austin fucking kicks. I'm like, right, okay. So then when he comes back after the match, I said, "Why did you do the Austin kicks?" I said, "They look terrible." And he said, "Well, you know, I kind of felt the moment, and you know, I thought I was going to go with the brute force." I said, "It would have looked better and more vicious if you had just done one big one." Saying it once. Did you see what I did? Boom! It's like the exclamation point on what you said, rather than fucking stomping it like this. And yeah, like there is the exception to the rule. Stone Cold can do that. You're not Stone Cold. At the end of the day, we're not, like you and me, we're not Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know what I mean? It took Stone Cold Steve Austin 15 years to be an overnight success. We're not even there yet. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you can't do the things he did.
No,
you can try, but you can't. It's like I actually want to ask your opinion on this, but Kevin Owens lately has started using the Stone Cold Stunner as a finisher, which he went to Stone Cold and asked him, Stone Cold said, because that's the rule, you got to ask and use someone's finisher.
Yeah.
And Stone Cold said, yeah, by all means, fucking take it. However, I can count maybe 4 or 5 other WWE wrestlers who are now using modified versions of the Stone Cold Stunner as filler moves.
Yeah. Like, it realistically, like, if it shouldn't be that way. Like, they shouldn't be even considered in a match. If this guy is doing a stunner as his finish, then nobody's to do any variations of that at all.
Yeah.
So it's just the way
like one of the guys here, one of his signature moves is a spine buster. Now he does. I'm not even gonna blow smoke right now because I always give this guy shit all the time just for the fun of it. But I don't think I've ever actually given him a compliment to his face. But he does a picture perfect Arn Anderson spine buster.
Nice.
Like, picture perfect. If I can get a chance to, I'll send you a video of it later.
Yes.
And like he's absolutely fantastic at it. So no one's gonna do a better spine buster than him on the show. Don't do a spine buster. Or at least don't do one similar to that one. If you're going to do a spine buster, do like a fucking sit-out version or something.
Yeah, like modify it, like do something different that makes it different.
Exactly. I do a fantastic dropkick. No one on the show is going to do a dropkick as good as me. Like, when I look at the card and I say, can any of these people do it? No, they can't, right? I'm doing dropkick tonight. I make the dropkick a special move. It's not a filler move.
Yeah.
You know
It's not like with what seems to be becoming very popular is the likes of doing multiple like high spots, like, or Spanish flies or super kicks and leg slaps, and it's, yes, they have a place in certain matches, but not for every single match on the card.
No. And if you look, like, I can understand it to a degree, and the reason why I can understand it to a degree is, like, the way I approach wrestling now is, if me and you were having a wrestling match, okay, let's put it all on paper, right? So it's Adam Ace versus Nala Fox, okay? Nala Fox has been in wrestling 14 years.
Yes.
Right. Adam Ace has been in wrestling 10 years. So you have more experience than I do now. Okay? So, because you're in wrestling that long, and we've been training this long, you are now a trained professional wrestler. So if I put you in a wrist lock, you should know how to get out of it.
Yes.
There shouldn't be all this. And if you're only hearing this and not watching the video, I'm mimicking someone put me in a wrist lock for fucking forever. Like, you shouldn't be sitting in that forever. You should know it. If you try to put Ronda Rousey in a fucking sleeper hold, she's gonna judo throw the shit out of you.
Yeah.
You should know how to do it instantly. You should know how to do it as well.
Yes.
So I understand some aspects of, like, if you watch a super indie match, the only parts of it that are very realistic to me is where you hit them a big move, pin, 1, 2, kick out. You pick them up for another move, then reverse it. They hit you a big move, 1, 2, kick. That part of it I get. It's done too much, but I get it. Because you know the move, you know the reversal for it. You're not going to sit there and let them hit you the move.
Yeah.
You're going to get out of it. So that part of it I get. The super indie stuff is where I don't understand how you would have the energy to do some of the stuff. Because if I hit you a fucking power bomb, the next move should not be a Spanish fly.
No.
Shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be you springing to your feet and doing like a big hurricane or reverse rana.
That's it. Like I wouldn't do a drop kick after getting a power bomb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I would do something else as like a desperation move, but I wouldn't do a drop kick.
Throw a clothesline or fucking something. Then I
do something first.
Yes.
That's it. Do something first. And if you need to break out of it and do something, then it's not the right move. Like me and a guy here, I think I mentioned before, me and Justin Turnbull. He's like the Canadian Joey Farrell. Oh my God. I either want to see them two fight or I want to be in a fight with them. Oh my God. I either want to bring Justin to Ireland or get
Joey there
here. Even if it's not on a show, I don't care. Get in gear. Let's do it in the ring. No cameras, no people, no nothing. Let's just fucking do it.
Like that scene from Rocky.
Dude, I would literally love it. But we have this great spot that we've done where we actually tease 4 different bombs because we're both similar sizes. So if I hit a power bomb, it's realistic. If I hit a power bomb with Joe Cabray, it's not going to be realistic.
No.
If Joe hits me one, it's realistic because it's a size difference. Me and Joey or me and Justin are the same size. Just laughing at the thought of me powerbombing fucking Joe Cabray.
No, I'm just remembering that one show at Comic-Con where he basically like overkilled you. Like,
that was the one where he gave me some sort of a superplex off the top rope.
Superplex off the top rope. Picked you up
into a Falcon Arrow,
and then picked you up and did like a moonlight drive. And
yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then decided to pin me. Oh my God!
It's just like overkill.
And that was my first ever superplex as well. First ever fucking superplex.
They're scary.
I actually I had a memory show on Facebook actually of that show. We had about 2,000 people watching that fucking match.
It's crazy.
There's a photograph of him holding me for a stalling suplex, and there's like 2,000 people around the ring.
Mm.
But yeah, like the spot that we have is like a super indie spot that we've done before, where he goes for the running Liger bomb.
Yes.
But as he goes for the Liger bomb, I back roll off and land on my feet, and I hit him a kick to the gut, double underhook, go for the power bomb. He gives me a moonsault. Oh, not moonsault. He gives me a Hurricane Rana out of it. I don't roll around. I eat a buckle from it, and then I feed around, and he hits me in the gut, and he goes for a gut wrench powerbomb. And then as he goes up for the gut wrench powerbomb, I don't put my legs on either side of his head. I put my legs over to the other side and I go out the back door.
Yeah.
And then when he feeds around, he eats whatever bomb I decide to give him then, which is usually a perfect plex.
Which is good because like that's like it's a tit for tat, but at the same time they're not the same way of going into the same move.
Exactly, it's
different variations.
It's different variations of the same move, but then it means that we can build it up. So, like for example, we can do clotheslines and back elbows. Then we can build it up to we're both trying to get this kind of chin lock. Then we can build it up to we're both trying to get this kind of suplex. Yeah. Then we can try to build up this kind of power bomb. Then we're both trying to get our finisher.
It's basic storytelling. Like, don't know, it's basic storytelling.
But you can. People think you can only do one or the other. You can only do the old way of wrestling or the new way of wrestling. You can actually do both.
Yes,
if you want to do it right. And
it's just being smart about it. That's all.
Work smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm.
Who used to say that? Fucking hell!
I dare not say.
Yeah, he who shall not be named.
Nah, but like
I've gotten used to that phrase now that I've watched Harry Potter for the first time.
Did you enjoy it?
I did actually. I did. Yeah, my girlfriend was cursing me that I'd never seen Harry Potter, and yeah, so we decided to binge watch them all, and we wanted to do it all in. We wanted to do it all in 4 days, all 8 movies in 4 days. But we ended up doing it in 5 just because I wasn't feeling well one of the days. But yeah, we ended up binge watching all 8 movies in 5 days. And yeah, they were fucking brilliant.
How pimping is Gary Oldman?
Oh, dude. He is fucking awesome in that movie. And his name, like, Sirius Black. How was that not a gimmick name before? Like, that is an incredible name. Holy shit. Sirius Black.
Get away from my godson.
Oh my god. Whack. Oh, so cool, dude.
He's the biggest heel is actually like Malfoy, like Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah.
He's the Weasley heel.
He is the Weasley heel.
Talks a big game, but like as soon as he's cornered, that's it. He's a big coward.
Drago is probably worse.
He's more sinister.
Yeah, he's a more sinister version. That's what I would think makes him worse. It's because he's more sinister, and then towards the end of it, he becomes the biggest coward ever.
Yeah, took a while, but like
it took a while, but it happened.
He was that tweener at the end of it.
That's it. Yeah. You kind of felt sorry for him. He was that bad. Yeah, but no. I actually have to say I really enjoyed it because Emily Parker is actually a big Harry Potter fan. A buddy of mine, Mike Morrison, he's a huge Harry Potter fan, which I didn't even know, which is funny. But yeah, like they instantly messaged me at 3 o'clock in the morning when I finished watching it. They were like, "What'd you think? What? We have to talk about it. What'd you think? What'd you think?" I was like, "Dude, it's 3 a.m. I'm going to bed. We'll talk. Fuck off.
Yeah,
we'll have a chat tomorrow. Fuck right off." But
I love shit like that. I do. I love
it. So good.
Like I remember watching through the film series as it was coming out, because like the first film I didn't see for at least I want to say a year after it came out originally. So like it was out on VHS. Like that should fucking tell you how long ago that film came out.
That was a long time. Yeah, like I almost feel deprived in a way that I didn't watch them when I was younger. I didn't read the books. I've never read the books. Never read the movie. Never read the book. Never watched movies. And I used to say, I should sit down and watch them, but there's such a huge commitment. Before all this, we didn't have time to do shit. I didn't have time to sit down and binge watch 8 fucking movies in 5 days. So I was like, fuck it, I'll get around to it at some point in my life. And then she convinced me to do it. I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because we started doing this quarantine, our quarantine movie thing.
Yeah.
Where maybe 4 nights a week we watch a movie. And what we'll do is we actually have a list stuck to the inside of one of the cupboard doors. And I think there's 40 movies on it. Some of them are binges. So like we have Jurassic Park. So that's all the Jurassic Park movies.
Yes.
Or Rocky, all the Rocky movies. Harry Potter was one to all the Harry Potter films. But otherwise, it's just one movie, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, or I don't even know now off the top of my head. Single movie. I don't fucking know. Top of my head. What else have we got?
Just
Jesus Christ, I can't even think right now.
random
fucking
movies.
films. Yeah.
Random movies. Random movies.
Random movies. Either movies that we haven't seen, or movies I have, she hasn't, or she has, I haven't, whatever.
Yeah.
And we put a number next to each one, and then we wrote an identical number and put it all into a jar. So every day, 4 days a week anyway, one of us will pick a number out. That's the movie we watch that night. And if it's a binge, if we don't watch the binge that night, we'll start it that weekend, and we'll do the binge that weekend, and then we watch a different movie that night.
That's fair enough.
We've gone through so many fucking movies that we have both either wanted to watch or thought the other person should watch or whatever. And even I'm a big movie buff. I love watching movies. I've even discovered movies that I just haven't been arsed watching because I didn't think they were good. I thought they were fucking fantastic. Like Arrival. You ever seen Arrival?
Arrival, remind me.
It's the same girl who plays Lois Lane in Batman vs Superman. It's basically
I haven't seen it. No,
the alien spacecraft. Oh my god, dude, fucking brilliant, fucking amazing film. Basically, the premise of it is aliens have landed. You don't know what way to take them because they're not hostile. They're not hostile. You don't know what way they are. So what they actually do is they recruit her, who is the world's leading linguistics person, to try and communicate with them.
To try and figure out.
Try to figure out their dialect. Can you speak to them? What can you do? And the movie just takes off from there, and it's fucking fascinating. It's so well done. And I remember watching it. I was glued to it. I was literally glued to it. And I was like, this is one of the best sci-fi films I've ever fucking watched. And
it's always good when a film like surprises you like that, don't know? Because like, it can come from out of nowhere.
That's it. Because she's not out of nowhere. She's not she's not a big superhero fan. Well, she is kind of a superhero fan. She likes comic books. She doesn't like the movies. She thinks the movies are terrible. So I introduced her to the first Thor movie, and she loved it.
Wait till she gets number 3. She'll even love that more.
Yeah, I know.
Don't know. That's like just an easy go-to. Like, don't know. If you want to show exactly someone who's never seen those movies, just show Thor like Ragnarok, and instantly they'll love it.
They'll love it. Yeah, exactly. Like I might make her watch the other 2 Thor films, but we'll see. Right now, what I have to do is I actually have to go. I have to do something. So, how would you feel about making this a part 2, and we'll do it tomorrow?
Sure.
You're free. You're free tomorrow?
Yep.
All right. Let's because we have to pop out and grab some stuff.
Yeah. So tomorrow evening.
Yeah, I'm down. Same time tomorrow if you want.
Yeah. So, thanks for listening to this special collaboration. This is part 1.
Part 1 that I bluntly just ended out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Again, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, because time was literally just like completely lost track of right now, and So I got 1 or 2 things I got to do real quick because it's only 4:30 here.
It is 25 to 10 over here.
25 to 10. Yeah. So, dude, you need to have a drink. You need to be with your kids, or the kids probably in bed or whatever the fuck. But have a drink at least. Go spend some quality time with the missus. I don't know. I gotta go. Grab some stuff for her, and then we're gonna come back and make some dinner and play some Game of Thrones. I got whoop her. I'm winning 2-1 right now, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, this is the end of part 1. We shall continue
part 1
another time. Yeah. To be continued.